It's a really dangerous job. The more deliveries they make, the more tips they get, the more money that goes to them. They have an incentive to go fast.
Last fall, I had several near misses with high-speed, throttle electric delivery bikes operating in our Upper West Side bike lanes. Stepping off the curve is tough enough in New York without these things flying around.
The crackdown on e-bikes is kind of framed as a public safety kind of issue. And to some extent it is. But unfortunately, what seems like just like a regular old traffic law is actually discriminatory in its effect, because it almost completely, singularly affects folks of color and immigrants in particular, because it's immigrants that do this kind of work.
Las personas que no entienden nuestro trabajo, pues por lo menos deberían de escucharnos y no criticarnos que somos un peligro para ellos, porque en lo cual no somos un peligro, somos alguien que les lleva su comida hasta su hogar, que hay a veces que hasta ni nos dan propina.
Our national appetite for food delivery is bigger than ever thanks to services like Seamless, Grubhub, Caviar, DoorDash, and Uber Eats. In 2017, the industry raked in $43 billion. By 2022, that number is expected to rise to $76 billion. But delivery workers in New York say that demand comes at a cost. They're battling low wages, long hours, steep fines, and opponents who don't want their electric bikes on the road. Matthew Scheffler has been one of the loudest critics.
They don't belong in our streets, much less our bike lanes.
60% of New York's 50,000 delivery cyclists rely on electric bikes, or e-bikes, but they're technically illegal under state law. E-bikes must be registered as motorcycles, but the state offers no way to do that for these motor-assisted bikes. Despite the legal gray area, Mayor Bill de Blasio announced he would start cracking down on e-bikes in October 2017.
This is about safety, and this is about quality of life. We have to go after anyone who creates a threat to neighborhood residents. So we are now not only going to go after the reckless drivers of these bikes, we're going after the businesses themselves. The employers purchase the bikes, hire the workers to drive the bikes, and that right there indicates a violation of the law. You're allowed to own an electronic bicycle in New York City, but you're not allowed to operate one.
Delivery workers say it's not the restaurant owners who are buying e-bikes. They say most riders actually purchase their own. And in the first quarter of 2018, New York police issued e-bike riders 459 moving violations and confiscated 320 of their bikes.
Y él en su caso, como alcalde, si él necesita una herramienta de trabajo, la tiene que comprar, porque es para su trabajo. Igual nosotros la necesitamos, la compramos, hacemos un esfuerzo. Pero si él está tomando esa decisión de quitarlas, tal vez porque él no ve que en realidad nosotros las necesitamos.
Clemente Martinez has delivered food in New York for 14 years. He's in the process of suing a restaurant for wage theft, and he continues to speak out on the city's treatment of delivery workers and their bikes.
No me afecta a mí, sino que nos afecta a todos, porque sinceramente los restaurantes ahora están cogiendo deliveries de 2 a 3 millas, y con una bicicleta normal es algo que no podríamos hacer, o sea, terminaríamos muy cansados. Y por eso es que nos preocupa, la preocupación de eso. Si las quitan, pues no va a ser lo mismo, vamos a terminar más cansados y haremos poca propina. He trabajado en varios lugares y simplemente pues yo veo que no están, a veces en varios lugares no están pagando el salario mínimo, a veces pagan menos, porque he trabajado a veces 60 horas, 70 horas, me pagan $50 al día.
The most popular e-bike for New York deliveries is the Aero 7. It's powered with a rechargeable battery and costs around $1,500. Mel Gonzalez is pushing the city to legalize the bikes. He works at Make the Road, New York, where he helps riders recover unpaid wages and fight traffic fines and labor law violations.
So this is like a set of tickets that one person that we work with got, and half of them are just e-bike tickets. And they could have also gotten more tickets, but this just shows this is what one delivery worker gets while working. all at the same time. It might not happen one day, but within a year, you can get enough tickets that it would be the cost of the bike. The fines are really punitive. To get charged $500 for using something that you have to use for your job, and then to risk having your bicycle confiscated, which would mean you'd have to pay off that fine. Like you might lose your job because you can't get your bike immediately. You can't just tell the cop, okay, here's the money, can I keep my bike? You have to go to the pound, get your bike back. In that time, you may have lost your job because your boss said, oh, let's just find somebody else who has an e-bike. Things that may not seem discriminatory are, and what may seem like just a simple traffic issue is actually a workers issue and is actually an immigrant's issue.
Where's the data? Where are these people that are getting hit and killed by pedal assist or e-bikes? I don't see the numbers.
Dulcie Canton is an organizer at Transportation Alternatives. That's a nonprofit that's pushed the city for transit infrastructure improvements since the 1970s. She says opponents who are concerned about safety should focus on the riders themselves. New York police do not track stats related to e-bike crashes, but cycling advocates say workers are often hurt on the job and pay out of pocket for their injuries.
It's a bit unnerving to cycle in the city. I myself am a survivor of a hit-and-run crash. As much as people complain about delivery cyclists' dangerous cycling, I have yet to hear of one that's killed or injured someone that I know. So I feel that those claims are generally unfounded. Studies show that streets with protected bike lanes, median islands for pedestrians, leading pedestrian interval lights, they do cut down any amount of injuries and deaths. I think a lot of this issue with delivery cyclists and the bike lash is that when all this infrastructure was put into play, I don't think anyone consulted them, New York it's a tale of two cities, the haves and the have-nots. It's wrong when you have people that are more affluent, wealthy, and they speak on behalf of everyone. It's not fair. They want their food fast, but no one is considering how this is supposed to take place.
On June 27th, the city's transportation department announced it would add 1,000 e-bikes to New York's bike share program. The city also clarified that pedal assist bikes are legal, but bikes that rely on a throttle, like the Aero 7, are not. Activists are pushing the city to stop confiscating battery-powered e-bikes with throttles until delivery workers can convert them to comply with the new guidelines.
It's strange to pass a policy that would specifically, leave behind workers and not even allow a way for workers to convert their bikes to the kind of bikes that they're hoping to legalize. So it's really short-sighted and it's really unfair unless we kind of push them to think about workers throughout this whole process.